Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Tilting Ground Notre Dame USC football podcast. I'm confused USC fan Michael Muto here with Notre Dame football expert Greg Famon. Greg, how you doing?
It's upon us, Michael.
It's his rivalry week, baby.
It's here. It is here. Incredible.
This is our third one. So this is the rubber match at the moment.
I can't believe it's here. Like it's such a we talk so often and then, once a year it's our two teams.
It just sneaks
So
up on you.
it's yeah, and now it's just I'm feeling all of the emotions that are there.
But we have
And
things to talk about before we get there.
we do. We do. We need
Yeah,
to set it up.
yeah.
We need to
So
set it up because this almost became not such a big matchup.
it really almost did. I think I finally broke and I sent you my first I quit text
You
message
did.
during the game.
And then they scored like 30 seconds later.
Yeah, that's okay. So really, how you see this USC victory is like a reflection of yourself. That's what I'm taking away from this.
Okay.
It's wins are always good. Three fumbles are always bad. Like what are you going to focus on? Sam Darnold throwing for 350 plus yards. That's great.
Good.
The defense giving up more 20 plus yard plays. That's terrible. Um, Ronald Jones, great game. Love it. The receivers still not that great. Tight end touchdowns. Huh, I'm there. I'm all about that.
You love them. Every
I
single
do.
one. You were just
Every
blowing
single
up
one.
my phone.
A backup quarterback tearing up your defense. Not great.
Well, to be
Um,
fair, he started like all the
that's true.
games last year.
That's true. The
So
let's see
he's a
what else.
backup. I mean, he's a backup, but you know, I feel like the starter would have done well to play as well as he did.
That is a fair point.
Yeah.
Um, Utah punted the ball 6 times. You know how many punt returns USC had?
Zero.
Cool zero.
But they're sneaky. Like I would hate to deal with that, like running, you know, rugby style, what have you. It's like you don't know how to catch it, and you don't know never know how it's gonna land or where it's gonna go. And like if you are gonna catch it in the air, you got to run up. As someone who caught punts, um, in high school, I just like USC, I wouldn't get anywhere near it. I wouldn't get anywhere near it.
That's great.
If I had an excuse to let it go, I would.
That's great. However, USC only has 6 punt returns on the season. So, yeah, you run into one funky Australian rules punter. I get it. Like, cut your losses. Don't mess up. I still need more. I'm sorry.
Are you disparaging John Baxter's special
Oh,
unit, Michael?
left and right. It's, it's just I mean, it's just atrocity. This no punt return thing is like the slow bleed that's like really like taking most of the fun out of the season for me. Like, 'cause it just makes me mad every time the other team punts. So it's like, oh, the defense did something good. They're punting now. It's like watch USC not return it. It's just such a waste. It's just I hate it. Makes me so mad.
It's
And I
funny
feel
because
like Alabama scores like what they have like 18 non-offensive touchdowns last year.
that's true.
It's like you need that stuff if you want to be a good team.
None against Utah though.
Not against Utah.
Didn't play him. You know, it's funny. Like the Notre Dame has the same thing going on. They don't really return a lot of punts. Like Kelly does this where if he finds a guy who he knows is going to catch it, then he doesn't. It doesn't matter who else is on the team if he has someone, and especially when he knows his defense is good and he has an offense that he thinks can score. He's definitely not gonna take a chance on like a shaky kick punt return because like why would you put the ball at risk
Well,
when
that's a great theory. I like it. Genie Harris fumbled against Washington State.
he
I
did?
think he fumbled another one earlier in the season. I think he muffed another one.
I'm
I
just
can't.
talking. I'm just talking
I,
about like Notre Dame fans get really salty whenever they have a guy who is like, oh, he's basically just gonna fair catch or they play kind of punt safe all the time.
no,
They
I
get
understand.
salty about it.
Uh, it's just yeah. I think you're right. I think they're right. I mean, I don't know how you feel. I think they're right. Just it's no. First of all, it's no fun. It's zero fun because
Mm-mm.
punt returns are great.
I mean,
And
I think that the thing and I don't know what it was like with Pete Carroll, but people remember, like, because people always go back to Lou, you know, and he he had the Rocket on his team, so um, they were scoring touchdowns on punt returns all the time, and then they had a little bit of a lull. So they had the Rocket, they had Ricky Waters, they had the Rocket, then they had Mike Miller, and then they had a couple years there when they weren't very good, and then they had Allen Rossum, who was returning punts all the time for touchdowns, and they had Autry Denson too. So it's like you go back to Lou, and he was so good at it, but it's different. Like it's not the same. Like back in the early '90s, in the late '80s, it's like people just punted like it was standard. You know, they didn't have these weird formations, and they didn't have these weird like kicking styles. And like I told you, I get it. It's hard now. It's hard to return punts, and it's harder. It's a lot harder than it used to be. So I mean,
it,
people get mad, and that's fine. But it's we pretend like everything is equal when it isn't.
I guess that is somewhat of a fair assessment. I should probably do a deep dive on what the other teams are doing.
Like I would say if you have a team that is conventional, that is punting conventional, and then they're not doing it, then okay, like what's your excuse? They're giving you a chance. But like this rugby stuff, well, I wouldn't care against Utah.
All right.
I can't
I'm
believe
glad
I'm.
we spent the first 5 minutes talking about punting.
Look, dude, I'm going to defend John Baxter if I feel like he needs defending.
This isn't the battle. This is the one. This is
I,
the hill to die on.
I'm just speaking from experience, man. It's not fun.
Together
Mm-hmm.
for what other teams are doing.
Okay, it's fair.
I mean, Dory Jackson's not back there,
He's
so
not. That's fact.
I mean that's a thing. But whatever. Anyways, so Sam Darnold's fumbles are back. That's not great. That a little disconcerting, though. Maybe USC shouldn't be doing read options. I don't know. That might solve that problem. And then one of them was when it was like a little screen pass that Ronald Jones didn't jump on.
I don't know. I don't know what I swear it. I don't care. I don't care who if you are certain that it's a forward pass. Any ball that's on the ground, I'm jumping on it.
Right? That's just good coaching.
Because what is it? What does it hurt you if it's for not? Just jump on the ball. This happens all the time. Like defenders, they just kind of look at it, and it's like, do you know
Give
for
it
a
a shot.
fact? Just jump on it. Who cares? So you look dumb. Like so what?
You got the ball, maybe.
Yeah, like you don't know what happened. A lot of
No,
these
yeah.
guys, like they don't really know the rules. It's like just jump on it. Who
It's
cares?
just good coaching.
Ronald Jones, it hits him in the head, and like it's borderline, and he waits a beat, and then he chose to
Like
go
he
get
should
it.
know. Like he's the one
Yeah,
who knows.
it's
He
inexcusable.
didn't cross the line of scrimmage.
It's inexcusable not to jump on it. It can't happen.
But it's Darnold's fumble, so whatever. It was just rough watching that first half. And they returned for the touchdown. It's just like, it was. I was beside myself. Thank God the Dodger game was on, but they were still losing at that time. So
Mm.
that was a rough first half for me watching LA sports.
It
But
was tough.
they turned it around. They turned around the second half. I got to hand it to him for throwing to the tight end. I didn't see that coming. What's his name? Josh Follow. Is that his name?
What
Yeah.
number?
83.
Yeah.
He's the freshman. Yeah, Josh Follow.
Mhm.
His second touchdown in 2 weeks. Get him more reps. Let's do it. He has 3 catches, 2 of them are for touchdowns. I love it. Tyler Petit, he had 2 touchdowns. That's crazy. So, like, what are the coaches doing? That these game breaker tight ends apparently, and you were throwing your dumb wide receivers all season long who can't catch the ball and they're just like, you know, kicking it around. They can't get open, dropping balls left and right. Get out of here. Like, I guess that's good. Good on T. Martin for switching it up and involving different players than just your two outside wide receivers. So I guess that made me happy. Ronald Jones carried the ball more than 15 times. Not the 20 I would have liked, but whatever.
He's scary.
He's so good. I don't understand why they just don't
Man.
give him the ball every time.
He scares me. Well, isn't he banged up?
I think he's better now.
Oh, okay. Is Deontay Burnett hurt?
He's banged up.
But he's something with his foot or his toe.
Yeah, he's a shoulder and a toe, I think.
Oh, okay.
He's got a lot going on.
Yeah.
They won and he didn't score a touchdown, so that's good.
Yeah.
But no, I don't understand why Ronald Jones can't just get like 25 carries. Like, I'm sorry. Like, the passing game's not that great. Like, you just get a rhythm running, make him put like 8 guys in the box, and then go deep. Like, I know everyone thinks they're a coach. I'm sorry. But it's like, he's really good. It's not like I'm telling Utah to give it to their running back. I mean,
Actually, like, that kid, they could have given him.
I know.
I feel like they could have given him the ball more.
That kid was pretty good, actually.
He was like refusing. Like, it's just like, no, I'm not going to be tackled. Thanks for coming.
Not today, USC.
It was, but then in the second half, I felt like something was up. Like, they'd give him the ball and then they'd take him out. And in the first half, they were giving him like 3-4 carries in a row. So maybe he was like cramping or whatever. But that kid,
a hot October night.
I mean, basically, like, all he needed was a little bit. See, the difference between like him and a USC running back is he would also be like a 4-3 guy if he was a USC person.
Right.
Instead, he's a 4-5 guy and he's running like 15-yard runs instead of like 55-yard runs.
Yeah.
But he was a bowling ball.
But yeah, I don't understand why USC can't just pound the rock with Ronald Jones. Like, whatever. Who cares at this point? Like, your season's on the line. Every game matters. Like,
I mean, the problem with having a first-round quarterback is, and Notre Dame kind of had this problem last year with Kaiser. Like, you have this guy who, it's like you feel like every pass should work. So why not call it, And it's hard to take the ball out of Darnold's hands.
I don't know. I feel like Clay Helton. I mean, T. Martin's calling the plays allegedly.
I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying like it's hard for someone to have this guy.
No, I get it. You think you get this arguably the best quarterback in the nation, so let's use him. But your wide receivers are garbage, so don't. It's a degree of difficulty there. Don't make it harder than it should be. Like, I just don't get it. Whatever. They won, right?
Is it possible that because Stephen Carr is hurt,
mm-hmm.
and so it's like they have these other backs, but they don't really trust them late in the game? Is it possible that they're trying to limit Ronald Jones in the first half so that if they need him in the second half, they can? Because in the second half, they rode him pretty hard.
That's a good question.
I mean, you got to think – because you have to think long term, not even for just that game, but just the season.
This whole season, no bye weeks.
Yeah, like if he's sitting there in the first at halftime with 15 carries and, it's 21 to whatever at that point, you got to figure, I mean, we got to give him another 15 carries. You want to give him 30 carries before he goes and plays Notre Dame?
That's true. I mean, that was the knock on Reggie Bush, right?
Yeah.
He couldn't handle the load, but they had Lendo White to take all the carries.
Yeah.
Reggie couldn't do all the inside running. So I guess they don't really have
you have no one to share the load with, really.
I think Akasudrick wears good, man. I don't know why he can't get more touches. He's got like who is the guy? Who's the guy that dropped the barbell on his neck? Stephon Johnson. He's got like Stephon
Oh,
Johnson disease where it's like, why is he playing more? I don't quite understand.
yeah,
Like every time he's in, I feel like he does okay.
yeah.
But he must have spit on Clay Helton's mom or something. like he just can't get in.
That would probably hurt your playing time.
Exactly.
That's funny.
The defense is I don't even know. Amon Marshall gets his weekly pass interference call. Though this one was dicey. I'm sure he had another one that should have got called. So.
Those guys. They just don't. It's like no, like we're just gonna take the penalties and that's fine. It's unbelievable.
I mean, that's what they do. That's what they're set up on.
It is.
Jack Jones thinks he's the best corner in the Pac-12.
He does. I actually really appreciate his moxie.
No one believes in Jack Jones more than Jack Jones.
But I mean,
good
God
for him,
bless
I
him.
guess. Yeah.
God bless him, because you know what? He does make plays.
He does.
And it's like it's one thing. Like Notre Dame. I wonder how many people listening to this will remember this name. Notre Dame had this guy, Clifford Jefferson, and this was like the Davy years. This was like 2001 teams. And he was a corner from Texas. And he was, who did he say? He was, and this is, kind of pre-internet. I mean, there were message boards and stuff
right,
a little bit, but like it wasn't, so I can't specifically remember, but he would like compare himself to like Deion Sanders or something.
So good.
And just a lockdown corner. And he would just swagger around like he was the best dude, and he made no plays. I mean, he ended up playing like on some pretty good teams. But he did not. His play did not match the confidence that he had in himself. So, and I think so. At least Jack Jones, while he gets,
nothing will ever match his confidence.
No, and while he gets used up a little bit, and he takes a ton of penalties, like he does have 4 picks.
That's true.
So there's something to be said for that.
He's my favorite. Just watching him and hearing his quotes and like, God, you're the best. You're such a 19-year-old kid. You're the best.
Poor Iman Marshall too. He's such a tortured soul out there.
He is.
Just knows like, oh man, I keep doing it. It's like a person who they have this flaw and they know that they have it, but they can't escape it.
I mean, look, they're in man the whole time.
Yeah.
I mean, they're never in zone. They're always in man the whole game, and that's hard.
I mean, yeah, of course it is. You're on the island, and the thing is they're just good enough to do it. They're just good enough to try it. But they get exposed, and it's like he just has this look on his face every time, like, oh, I did it again.
It's like, sorry, coach.
Darn it. Ugh. Like someone walks outside, like a smoker, and they're not supposed to be smoking, and someone walks outside and they see their friend smoking, and you look at them and they're like, yeah, I know. I know. Yeah, I know. I'm not supposed to.
Yes. I feel so bad for him. He's still good, right? I feel like there's a little groundswell of Amon Marshall overratedness in USC land, and I'm not buying yet. I think he's got a tough job. The defensive line's still a little shaky, so he's got to cover for a long time. Porter Gustin's not around anymore, chasing quarterbacks.
So
he's out there.
Speaking of the corners, I should bring it up now because I don't know where we plan to do a second pod this week for our big game.
Yes.
But I should bring this up because we had a Twitter question.
Ooh.
During the game. It's at DMingo11.
Okay, I've seen you interact with him before.
Yeah, and he asked me, what corners would you rather have? Would you rather have Iman Marshall and Jack Jones or Nick Watkins and Julian Love? He said I think he said Iman Marshall or Nick Watkins, but I'm kind of shaping it into like what
Both.
corners you want. Yeah.
I think I'd rather have the USC corners.
Okay, tell me why.
I feel like they're more physical.
Okay.
I feel like they make more plays.
Okay.
Jack Jones has his 4 interceptions. Um, I like that they're always in man, so that's fun. That's
Okay.
they're competitive. They're out there. I don't know. I think they're good tacklers, which is an
Okay.
often underrated cornerback skill.
Mm-hmm.
Because like they're Elon Marshall's a pretty big dude, and then Jack Jones just happens to be like a pretty good athlete. Now, Nick Watkins and Julian Love. No, you're not counting Sean Crawford.
Mm-mm.
Okay, I just want to make sure I have a chance at you being on the same side as me. Um,
No, if Sean Crawford was in it, then I wouldn't even bring it up.
yeah. Now I'm not familiar enough. I'm trying to think of Nick Watkins. I feel like Nick Watkins. They get beat a lot deep, but so do the SC corners. Like that's not really a knock on them if both guys are doing it. I feel like the SC guys are more athletic. That just could be their cardinal and gold uniforms. You're the DB, man. What do you think?
Okay, so I was just waiting. The answer is definitely Jack Jones and Iman Marshall.
Okay. Okay.
Um, it the thing is the what USC gives up mostly is they give up penalties. Um, and like Notre Dame gives up, those guys are giving up touchdowns this year. Like Watkins is giving up.
Yeah, I feel like he gets beat deep a lot.
It's not so much like quote unquote deep.
Just beat in general.
Well, it's like because they're kind of like jump balls, you know what I mean? So it's like 30-yard plays, but not like bombs, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah.
So they kind of throw it up, but it's like not a bomb for a touchdown or something like that. But they do give up like a lot of jump ball like touchdowns, jump ball receptions. Like he gave up a couple against Georgia. Julian Love has I want to say he's kind of snake bit in that he's given up about 4 touchdowns this year where they easily every single one could have been incomplete. Just because like his positioning on the play, but unfortunately all 4 were touchdowns. So it's like that keeps happening. And like Jack Jones is good, and I think Iman Marshall, like, I think in like if you put, I'll put it like this. Switch programs.
Mm-hmm.
Nick Watkins and Julian Love could not play the style, I don't think, that USC does. And I think if Jack Jones and Iman Marshall played in Notre Dame's defense, they would be like consensus All-Americans.
Okay.
So
I like that. I like that.
So that's why, yeah. Like they're just, I mean, Jack Jones is good. He's a good player. They just like they get put in these positions, like they play
Yeah.
they play the type of defense where it's like, are you Patrick Peterson? You know, I don't know if Patrick Peterson good, but like these dudes could definitely like hold their own at Alabama.
They're not putting you in plus situations where like you have a lot of help or like it's going to your skill set. It's just like, hey, be a corner and guard somebody.
Yeah, it's like they get put, and okay, and they only do that because they're so talented, you know. So
I don't know, man. These USC coaches might do anything all the time. I'm not sure. They just may have lucked out to have talented
well,
players.
freaking both of
Like
them
I
went to
wouldn't be
Long Beach
surprised if
Poly.
Clancy Pendergrass, just whoever's out there, he's doing the same thing.
Freaking Long Beach Poly guys,
All of
5-star.
them.
whatever. Anyway, so that's the answer.
Okay, good.
But
Good. I'm glad I picked right.
You did.
So I'm also glad that we talked about punting and DBs, and we haven't talked about Kyle Whittingham going for 2 to win the game, which is something on the podcast we love, right? Where
Like a boss.
Yeah, just put it out on the table. Just win or go home.
Our buddy Tim was mad about it. Well, he wasn't mad.
Really?
He
did
did
for the tie.
No. He liked the going for it. He didn't like the play call.
Well, if he went to inside SoCal.com, he would have seen that there was a Utah wide receiver wide open in the back of the end zone.
There was. But he said it was on a busted play that he was wide.
Yeah,
open.
yeah, that is kind of what I thought.
I kind of
disagree.
I kind of disagree because, like, he's supposed to be a crosser. It's like it's only a busted play because Jack Jones decided that he wanted to try and pick up the tight end, even though someone already had done that. So it's a busted play because Jack Jones left him. So Shocking. It's not. Yeah, like it wasn't the design of the play that got him open. It was USC's person just leaving his guy. That being said, like all of a sudden we're poo-pooing the tight end throwback.
Right, like everyone loves that
point conversion. Yeah, like it always works. Now, the problem is once USC calls timeout before the 2-point conversion, I feel like you can't call it.
And USC loves giving up that play too, by the way.
Yeah, but it's like I feel like you can't call it because they call timeout and the coaches are definitely saying, hey, watch the tight end throwback, especially when you have the tight end line up on the other side,
Right.
It's like if you see them roll right, the person on the backside has to be thinking the tight end is coming back to me, and he did. So the quarterback gets out, and I don't know how he doesn't see the guy who's right in front of his face because he's rolling that way. But, he decided to try to run it, and obviously just not fast.
Did not work.
But I love going for it.
Yeah, big fan.
Yeah, the only thing is, and Tim and I talked about this, is like even if you get it, you're not guaranteeing yourself a win.
Oh, because there's still time left on the clock.
Yeah, and
you can say that about kicking, though.
What's that?
You can say that about kicking an extra point, too.
Look, if he felt like the extra point isn't like 99%, then yeah. And here's the thing. Because you could make the case that it's like if you feel like Sam Darnold is going to go down and beat you.
Which is very plausible.
Why wouldn't you make him try to do that with the lead instead of with a tie? And my argument is it's like, yeah, but you're not dealing with 4 downs when you're tied. You're only dealing with 3. You know what I'm saying?
No.
So if USC gets the ball with 45 seconds left and they're down 1, they're going for every 4th down.
Right.
Whereas if they're tied and it comes to 4th down, they're not going to go for it.
Right.
They have to kick. That's the only thing. But they didn't have any timeouts left, right?
I'm not going to lie, I don't know.
I feel like they had used them up.
The Dodgers had already won at that point.
Oh, okay.
I may have been celebrating a little too much at the moment.
Yeah.
So the exact play calling scenario, I do not recall off the top of my head.
Well, either way, SC still had a chance. They still had 45 seconds. But
they always have a chance.
With 45 seconds, like you do give yourself the chance. If you miss it, you give yourself the chance to get the onside kick.
True.
So
I like it. Just long and short, always a fan of going for 2 in that situation.
Yeah, go for the win. I'm all for it. I felt like SC had just gone down. Like they were winning 21-7. That was Utah's first points in the second half.
Yeah.
Like Utah's defense had run 80 plays at that point. So I felt like they were breaking down. And it is kind of hard when you have SC's offense who is just kind of putting on the ground putting the ball on the ground for whatever reason. But you also have Utah's kicker who had a chance to kick a 33-yard field goal and just shanked it.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't close. So, you got to factor that in too. And plus, like, this is who Kyle Whittingham is. Like, he goes for two. He goes for fourth downs. I mean, how many fourth downs did he go against USC last year? I feel like it was like 6 or 7.
Right.
So, I mean, if you're that kind of coach, then you just do it. You don't even think about it. It's like, I don't need a reason. This is what I do. I'm always going to go for the win.
I'm freewheeling, gunslinging, gambling.
And if that's your thing, then that's your thing. Go do it. God bless it.
Dance with who brung you.
Mm-hmm.
It's just common courtesy. Clay Helton's never doing that. Just let's get that straight right
Let
now.
me tell you something, man. Clay Helton is getting more and more like on the sideline. He's got this look on his face like, man, I do not know how this is going to go. And I hope these guys pull it out for me.
I mean, I think that's his coaching strategy.
He does. He has it.
I don't know what's happening, but thank God these guys pull it out for me.
He has that look. And I'm going to tell you something, Michael. We were texting back and forth. If you change coaches, just switch them around, SC wins by like 100.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the only reason that Utah is consistently close to USC, given the talent disparity, is because Kyle Whittingham is a better coach than he is.
Oh, for sure.
I mean,
for sure. There's no doubt. I can't believe Kyle Whittingham is not the SC coach. Like, really? You couldn't have swung that when Steve Sarkisian left? Like, come on.
It's true. I mean,
it's like almost a no-brainer.
It's like they said at the beginning, like Utah has 42 guys from California. It's like all guys the USC didn't want.
Yep. Well, they all love. I mean, all the Pac-12 schools love playing USC.
I know, but they just don't.
Because they all have the California rejects.
Yeah, they do. Like, what did Sam Darnold say? Wasn't Utah like his first offer or something?
I didn't hear him say that.
I thought I heard that in the pregame. Utah was his first offer, and that's like, but of course he didn't go there,
Clearly,
because USC offered.
I'd like to go there.
Yeah. So.
All right. Well, I think we've talked about USC Utah long enough. We're gonna have another podcast previewing USC Notre Dame, since this is the USC Notre Dame football podcast. So we'll preview matchups, how people are hurt, who's playing where, what we think will happen, right?
Yeah, we're gonna get like the Tuesday. We're gonna have the Tuesday press conference for Brian Kelly, and then the Thursday post practice. So I'll have a better feel for it then. I will say, I can't believe that Notre Dame is favored in this game. Not that given, having watched both teams all year, but just like at the beginning of the year that Notre Dame is favored. And they were favored by, what was it? What was the line? 4.5?
It's 3.5 now.
It's 3.5 now. I think maybe it was 4. Actually, you know what? No, it was 4. It opened at 4. So Vegas thought that they were basically a 1-point favorite on a neutral field, which is
shocking.
Not what I would have predicted prior to this year. So
that's something.
Yeah.
Number 11 versus number 13. I mean, this is the fulcrum of the season for both these teams.
I saw something on Twitter that this is the first time. I think Pete Sampson put this out. It's the first time since 2009 both teams entered the game ranked.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's exciting stuff.
It is.
And like they're ranked like real close too, so it's even better.
Yeah, it's like 11 and 13.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Love it.
It's a big one.
Yeah, we'll do all this on Thursday.
Yeah. Okay.
So there was one other piece of news Greg and I wanted to talk about, and if you're paying attention to college sports, some sanctions did not come down against the University of North Carolina. And as someone who, I think both of us dislike the NCAA. And USC has had the harshest sanctions against them since SMU's death penalty. So it's just shocking that the University of North Carolina can put its athletes in fake classes and pretty much admit to it
for 2 decades.
And the NCAA was like, whatever. That's an academics issue. That's not really for us.
Yeah,
like,
it was
what?
okay. It was not deemed an extra benefit because there were general ed students who were also able to enroll in these fake classes.
Oh my God,
where
this is disgusting.
The class never met, and they would submit like one paper at the end of the semester that was graded by the secretary of someone, and some of these papers were like a paragraph, nonsensical.
But hey, it's okay.
And they're A papers.
Now look, it's just so terrible. I mean, yeah.
Now look, the thing with USC and Reggie Bush is they came down on USC because they felt USC was being dishonest, right? They felt like USC was, they were being deceitful and they weren't copping to what happened, and they made the NCAA kind of, they weren't super cooperative. And
Todd McNair is suing the NCAA.
Right. And so, they vacate wins, they take away scholarships. I mean, multiple scholarships.
And the Heisman.
And I mean, the Heisman. You know what? I'm counting it. They took away a Heisman Trophy. Okay. And they took away, would they take away a national title?
Yep.
In 2004. Okay. So you do all that. And the reason is because
lack of institutional control.
Lack of institutional control because an agent bought a house, supposedly.
For a player's parents.
For a player's parents. Now, in this situation, you have North Carolina creating fake, just like I saw someone put on Twitter, like you're not even pretending to even be a college institution at this point. Like, it's just like we're creating a class to put players through with a fake major and fake courses so that they can basically just get through the system and graduate with a degree that's essentially meaningless. And North Carolina basically argues like, no, this is not fraud. This is not. We say it is not because we've offered it to other students, and we hold this up as credible. And that was their argument. And the NCAA basically said, like, look, we can't, we trust the schools. We trust the schools to, monitor this stuff. And if they say it's good, then it's good. And it's like, what do you guys, what is your job then? Like, what do you do?
Yeah, what's the point?
What is the, like, there should not be a single instance of a player being academically ineligible ever again.
Because everyone could take fake classes.
Because everyone could take fake classes and everyone could get help. Like with Notre Dame, when the student manager helped players with Notre Dame write some papers, right? And Notre Dame, in their infinite stupidity, blew the whistle on themselves and got themselves put on probation, got 5 players kicked off the team, and had to vacate 2 seasons of victories because Notre Dame called the NCAA and said, hey, this is what we found. We suspended these players, and so this is what's happening. And the NCAA said, you know what? You used ineligible players. You're done. And all Notre Dame would have had to do is A, not say anything, and B, if it ever got found out, they could just say, well, they weren't given an permissible benefit because this student manager also helps some general education students.
We do this for everybody.
Yeah, we do. This is the service we offer. So no big deal.
So what I'm hearing is boosters, you really just walk around with envelopes of money and just give them to random students.
Yeah, yeah. It's not an
Just
extra
to make
benefit.
it just to make it not an extra benefit.
Yeah, it's a
This is
lottery.
what happens at USC. People walk around with
It's a
envelopes full of
lottery.
money.
It's incredible. It's insane. Like it's insane. And meanwhile, see the thing is that the NCAA they didn't want to come down on North Carolina because you would have had to wreck the program.
Right. They vacate wins in women's soccer, basketball,
You would have to.
like yeah.
The athletic department is basically gone, and they couldn't do it, so they decided to do nothing. But if you have a player who is caught, you know, selling his jersey, the jersey that he owns, if he's caught selling that for money, he will not be a player.
What did Des Bryant do? Didn't he like go to dinner with Deion Sanders or
Des
something?
Bryant lied about going to dinner, and it cost him his eligibility. There's
Real fair system.
There's a kicker who set up a YouTube channel.
Oh yeah.
That he was getting paid for, and they told him either like to shut it down or whatever, and he said no, like it's my YouTube, and they said okay, you're ineligible, you can't play, like at all, ever.
Yeah.
It's like you're no longer an amateur athlete because he set up a YouTube channel
to do his pranks or whatever.
A university is setting up fake courses. It's like if you can't monitor that, then you don't have any reason to exist. Zero. You have no function. Like you are not an entity.
Ugh, it's just so disgusting.
I mean, look,
because like how they punish other players and how they punish other people.
Yeah, they go after the individual players, but like the institution,
no big deal.
Yeah, and now you've got everything going on with the basketball programs now. Like the FBI is looking into it. It's like the FBI. What does the NCAA do? They just sit around and wait for news organizations, or in this case, the federal government, to let them know, like, hey, by the way, this shit's going on.
Bad stuff's happening. Bribery's going on.
Oh,
oops!
Ridiculous. It's terrible. And
Rick Pitino, no, not Rick Pitino.
I have never been like a pay the players person, but on the other hand, like these people in this organization, like you make it real hard for me to.
Yeah, it's like, what are you supposed to do?
Yeah, because on the one, it's like philosophically, I don't agree with paying players, but on the other hand, these people are crooks. Like they're
they're
terrible.
Yeah.
So
no, we don't have to teach these kids anything. It's perfectly fine. Just pass the athletes through.
They're student athletes. Like, give me a break.
That's always the argument about paying them. It's like, oh no, they get an education. It's like, well, apparently they don't. Not apparently not.
And apparently you don't care if they don't.
Yeah.
Not in your purview. Jeez.
So upsetting. I mean, they couldn't even just like slap them on the wrist or something, just something.
Well, because slapping them on the wrist implies wrongdoing.
Right. And and since it happened for so long, so many
players, like, so if you, it's like,
how do you figure it out?
If you levy some punishment, then that means there was wrongdoing here. But if you do nothing, it's like, look, we can't, this isn't our jurisdiction. Sorry, our hands are tied.
I just want to take this moment to remind everyone that you can't sanction the end zone.
Oh, snap.
It just makes me so mad.
Yeah.
That Reggie Bush's parents getting a house crushes USC for years. And then North Carolina can just, whatever. Our athletes don't need to go to class. No big deal. And the NCAA says, you're right. It's not a big deal. Disgusting. Well, I think that does it for today. We're going to have a very special Rivalry Week podcast on Thursday. 'Thursday. 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 He's got all his latest UHND articles. His
Yeah,
musings.
I'm gonna have some stuff coming out about this game.
And USC fans follow Greg on Twitter this week because he's got to talk about him a little bit.
Yeah, and I don't
Since they're
trash
playing.
on opponents. I don't trash on opponents, Michael. I don't.
You're a better man than me.
Not in my columns, anyway.
Okay. All right. You keep it legit. Like, you straight in the columns.
Not in my columns.
Maybe a little Twitter bashing here and there.
I mean, you know,
Sneaks out.
I am a human. I am a person.
Yeah, exactly. So follow Greg on Twitter. Like I said, we're dropping a special rivalry podcast later in the week. So, Greg, fight on.
Go Irish.